Could the Chicago Bears reunite a couple of pass rushers who were absolutely dominant in Washington in Montez Sweat and Chase Young? We'll talk about the report on that and more on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. Only channel talk Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure you get in tune with us, man. So, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN polled several front office members, basically talking about various landing spots for different players in a recent article on ESPN Plus. And in that article, there was a very, very interesting name that I think would fit so well with Chicago Bears, and is a name that we talked about here on the Breeze before, right? The name that kept coming up was former Washington Commanders and now San Francisco 49ers pass rusher Chase Young being linked to the Chicago Bears, and it seems like it would be a match made in heaven, pairing him and Montez Sweat back up. Know that they have that dynamic, know that they have that energy, know what they would be able to bring. Again, to me, speaks more to going out and getting Chico Rivera, right? We're building this thing back up. Let's just full regalia. Let's go, baby. I look at this as a great opportunity for the Bears, because Chase Young right now, when you look at kind of the contract that he's coming back on, yes, he did have a bounce back season, but the injury concerns with Chase Young are still there. It's never been a question of talent with Chase, but it's always been a question of the injury concerns. I think that could limit the market for him a little bit, going out there and getting a big contract. The fact that Sweat is here, I think, could play a big part in him possibly coming here. Spotrac right now has him projected basically to be valued at about $13.6 million annually over a new 2-year deal. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not going to lie to you, because I think that that's something that the Bears would be willing to go out there and get. I understand we're trying to build this all up on the offensive end, blah, blah, blah. Flus is still the head coach here. We've got a defensive head coach. If there's a player of Chase Young's ilk available and you have the money to spend, which the Bears do, they still have money. They have draft capital. There's a lot here that they still have available to them to go out there and use. I think that you could get Chase Young in the building right now for a couple of years, right? You don't have to go long term with this. It doesn't have to be the same length of time as Montez Sweat. And I'm sure there's somebody out there that may go a little bit harder and offer him more years and less, whatever it is, right? But I think right now you're in a really good position to go out and get another elite pass rusher, somebody who absolutely can bring the pressure if it were to all come to an end right now, right? Like I would be very excited to see those two on the defensive line again, because you know what they're going to be able to bring. Remember, when they were in Washington and both on the field together, that was a deadly rush off of the edge. Of course, they had some nice players in that middle as well. Maybe we could trade back with Washington, get a couple of Jonathan Allen action. Anybody in on that? No, just me. All right. I'm just asking. I'm just saying. But I think this is the deal that speaks to what the Chicago Bears are trying to accomplish. And I think that it's one that actually excites me. I mean, you look at him last year, he finishes the regular season with 7.5 sacks, same amount he tallied during his rookie season. He also upped his QB hits from 12 to 15, had a career high 25 pressures per PFF. I mean, like, you look at this young man and see what he's able to bring, and you get excited by him. Again, the only concern around Chase Young has always been the injury concern. Is he going to be able to overcome that for the remainder of his career, or the contract that the Bears would be able to sign him to? That's the biggest question I think Ryan Poles has to have the answer to if you're going to commit that kind of money to Chase Young. But again, a very, very team-friendly contract. You don't have to go long in years. You don't have to go long in commitment to them, and you don't have to break the bank to go out there and get them. I would be very intrigued to see what Chase Young is going to get on the open market. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Would you like to see Chase Young brought to this team, brought to this Bears team, and pair him back up with Montez Sweat? The other reason that I would love to have that here is because you're starting, what you do when you bring a Chase Young in here is you've got a proven pass rusher across from a proven pass rusher. And now your guys in the middle have more opportunity to grow because there's less focus on them. Guess what? If I've got Javon Dexter coming up at the 3 technique, right, and I've got Montez Sweat and Chase Young, guess who I'm focusing on? Focusing on Montez Sweat and Chase Young. And to me, that's what this is all about, developing these young pieces, because you've got some high draft capital and guys like Javon Dexter that showed flashes last season, flashes at the end of the year, thought he had a good game, sack and a half. In that, I want to say that was the Arizona game. I believe he had a sack and a half in. Didn't show as much in that last Packers game of the year, but you kind of looked at him and were like, okay, I'm starting to see him consistently end up in the backfield. Maybe he's somebody that can work out. You want to continue to make his life easier. His life is made easier when guys are focused in other positions or can't double team him or can't keep him away from the quarterback, right? I would love to see you be able to go out there and develop some of these young pieces you already have here by having pieces in place that can, one, teach them the game, two, help them to understand where they need to be positionally on the field to get the best leverage and different things like that. I think we saw that with Javon as well. When Montez Sweat came in and when Yannick Ngakoue came in, they both started immediately teaching Javon Dexter some of the things that they needed to see. I think on top of all of that, right, you're getting that development aspect. You're also getting a team that players are going to want to be here. You're going to want to re-sign a Jalen Johnson in this situation because now guess what? Yannick Ngakoue, who's coming off of a what was it, ACL tear? I believe he tore his ACL coming out of the season, which is a tough break to go through. You hated to see it, hated to see him go down. Now maybe he wants to sign back on with the team on a less money deal because guess what? There's a defense that's being built here. I'm already here. I'm comfortable here. You're probably your days of big contracts are probably over due to the injury and the mercenary thing, whatever all of that has been in his career, bouncing around from team to team, just getting put in tough situations. I think now you could see maybe even working that in and keeping him around on a low money deal. Now you've got a guy who could be a pass rush specialist. You got Chase Young, you got Montez Sweat. You're building out this defensive line and developing your interior defensive line. I think they'll go out and get some veterans as well. Of course, Big Bill's still in the middle there, but I think that this is how you start to build out your defensive line the right way in a long-term situation. When you look at Montez Sweat, he's not a player that is going to be out of here in a couple of years, right? He's a guy who you feel really good about for the long term of this Bears run, I guess I should say, right? If you were to sign a Chase Young, I know it seems like Chase Young's been in the NFL for a million years. Guys, he's 24 years old. He's 24 years old. If he can stay healthy, you could have a good, young, aggressive defense. That is something that we know here in Chicago that we always want to see on the field. And that's the part that does excite me about the potential of going out and signing Chase Young. If the Bears were to make that move, I think that would be another win in Ryan Poles' category. And I mean, you have to talk about it, right? The Bears were very interested in trading for Chase Young. They just didn't want to give up the draft capital for a player who was going to be potentially injury prone and blah, 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 everything. Nah, he hasn't been injured since he's been over in San Fran. Good to see. But you did have that concern with Chase Young coming in, right? So we're not going to trade a pick away. If you trade for Montez Sweat, you see what Montez Sweat has become, and then on the flip side of that, you're able to sign Chase Young to a team-friendly deal. W's all around. Poles playing 4D chess. In Poles we trust. Like that is the goal. That is the part that you look at and go, that's exactly what I want to see from this guy. That would be such a great GM move long-term there. And another move that the fact that we have the potential of this is another reason why I do have confidence and will trust whatever decisions Ryan Poles makes moving forward when it comes to the quarterback position. When it comes to the head coach position, I'm not going to lie. I feel like you could have picked up the phone. Y'all saw that yesterday's podcast. Just pick up the phone. That's all I'm asking. Just pick up the phone. Say, hey, Jim, you coming? No? All right. Bet. That's it. All right, cool. I would have loved to see that, but we don't end up seeing that. So here we go, right? We're in a situation here where we've got Flus. Let's build out a defense that Flus can go out there and help make dominant. Now let's find the right OC. We got Shane Waldron. Hopefully he is the right OC. Let's go out here and continue to be successful. I trust what Ryan Poles is doing. I trust the process that he's going through. And you know what? The fact when you see things like this play out, a lot of times we're very zoomed in. And so you got to break down the zoomed in feelings, right? There's some people that are like, why are we talking about? Some of y'all in the comments be hilarious. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like, why would a content creator talk about things that are going on in the Bears news because they're just looking for clicks? No, we're talking about how we feel. We're talking about what we're watching, and we're having a zoomed in look at this, and then we can have a zoomed out look at it. You want to record both to give you good content. I'm just saying, guys, that's just me venting at the end. Appreciate you guys who do tune in and show love. Appreciate you guys who tune in and hate everything that I put out, because y'all be watching. I see you in the comments. Y'all be watching to the end of the video. Hey, man, as always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down, one love. Peace.